Hi friends, this is Calpurn Piso, creating thoughts, concepts with my brain. We're having a problem with the scholar, brilliant atheist. They're blind. They had no idea what atheism means. So, an atheist is a person that can tell between fact and fiction and doesn't accept bullshit as true. Religious person is no different than a schizophrenic person, a person that had problem with the brains. A religious person, all religions accept bizarre metamagical beliefs as if they were reality and true. It's almost like saying 2 + 2 equals anything but 4. All people of faith, intellectuals, people of faith, and schizophrenics have the same reasoning. No exception. Atheists, I call it mentally healthy atheists, like Dawkins and Harris and the rest, as you will see here in these clips, they're blind. It's like I've interviewed many schizophrenics and mentally disturbed people for over 30 years, and I talk to them. And it's like talking to a religious person. Their world it has a problem with the brain. And the brain is the creator of thinking. It's not the ass. And atheists don't see that. And they discuss all these irrational things and all that with Christ psychotics, with people that believe in zombie Jesus. They never questioned their mental health. This makes atheists blind. And when they discuss all this stuff with crazy people like the Christians, it's like mumbling children discussing nonsense. They don't see the root of the problem with this. They're talking to people with defective brains. It's like talking to a Christian is like talking to an intellectual schizophrenic. Same thing, no difference. Or a temporal lobe epileptic, no difference. Or a person that have taken 1 datura flowers or entheogen too many. Or a person that is drunk. So, atheist, here's the truth. You create thinking with the brain, not the ass. When the brain malfunctions, it accepts bizarre metamagical beliefs of God, angels, and demonic possession, all that crap as true. They are created in the brain, not the ass. Keep that in mind. And then you'll be all right.
Austin B. Fletcher, Professor of Philosophy at Tufts University. His books include Consciousness Explained, Darwin's Dangerous Idea, and Freedom Evolves. I interviewed...
Thanks for taking the time.
Well, you're welcome.
I'm looking forward to talking about consciousness and evolution and free will, each of which you've devoted at least a book to.
To address issues of religion, God, immortality, but in a 21st century way.
This Christ psychosis infected moron, which is reasoning just like any schizophrenic, talking about immortality. This moron and the atheist, the blind atheist, had no idea. They think he's sane. So this guy with a defective brain that believes in resurrecting zombies that are true is talking about immortality. While an atheist, like Hitchens or you have Dennett or you have Sam Harris, why don't you just tell the guy, listen, when you die, you decompose. There is the air, the spirit is there in your lung. Learn Latin, not definition of spiritus. And this is the problem. They're ignorant people. They are educated on all that stuff, but they're ignorant in many ways. This is what happened with the atheists. They're blind. Put the guy down. Tell him like it is. You guy, you're sick. You're thinking, reasoning like a schizophrenic. Why don't you guys do that? Nobody does, and everybody just goes around the bush and idiots.
Compatibility or incompatibility between science and religion. But for me, these are not purely abstract or theoretical questions?
Well, the suicide is a psychotic infected person. He doesn't realize that science is based on facts, collective knowledge, experiment and facts, showing something. Religion is simply organized schizophrenia. It's based on deluded thinking. He doesn't understand that. The man is sick. And atheists don't see it.
Defined and fixed qualities. But today scientists will speak about dark matter and dark energy. And what do we know about dark matter? That it has attributes or qualities different from any matter that we have encountered.
Atheism are both religions of revelation. They believe that God revealed himself to Abraham and Moses, and then Christians believe he revealed himself to the one who Jesus Christ.
Consider the plight of these people. I got a new insight into what theology is. I think for several thousand years, as the Stone Age religions have become domesticated, there are people, really smart people, reflective people, and they knew what they were supposed to say and what they were supposed to believe, and they just couldn't quite get their heads around this.
Looking forward to talking about consciousness and evolution and free will, each of which you've devoted at least a book to. In this context are not smart people, but it's a term that's now being used to refer to people who reject supernatural explanations.
That's right.
You could say that they tend to be either agnostics or atheists.
Yeah, that's right.
And
to search for truth about the natural world. But if you're looking for truth about the spiritual world, science is the wrong set of tools to understand the tools of the spirit.
But is what gets you there faith? Is that it?
Ultimately,
This cryptopsychosis infected imbecile, Francis Collins, I believe in resurrecting zombies with blood, and believes in the spirit. He, I don't know, and Dawkins should tell him, spiritus is air in the lungs. The word says it. It's just like it comes from a spiritus. Learn Latin. There is no God, there is no hocus pocus crap. This is the 21st century. If you want to buy my soul, well, soul is air in my lungs. I can get a balloon, blow it, and sell it to you for $100. Imbecile. So, and Dawkins doesn't say that. And these morons come around talking about this nonsense. It's a schizophrenic, thinking like a schizophrenic, and nobody calls him on it. And Dawkins doesn't realize, you're sick. Something's wrong with your brain. You create thoughts with the brain. You don't create thoughts with the ass. There's no zombie gods. There's nothing like that. And he doesn't say it. And this is the problem. And they just, all the cryptopsychotics walk all around the atheists. They're blind. Interesting.
I think this notion that faith is somehow the antithesis of reason is completely wrong.
Most evolutionists in America would probably pay lip service to the idea that there is no contradiction between them, and that people who want to believe in God do so long as they don't trespass on science's turf.
Is evidence of nothing. It may be evidence of the poverty of our imagination, the ineffectiveness of our instruments. The bottom line of it ultimately is, when we look at the evidence, we find the religious believers are right. Thank you very much.
Before you're allowing yourself today. Scientists will tell you in advance of what it would take to disprove their beliefs. A great biologist of J.B.S. Haldane, I guess his name was once asked, okay, what would it from the other side? Say, this is what it would take to make me stop believing in something which I believe to be true without any evidence at all. why they don't actually bother to examine the beliefs too closely.
That version of atheism has always struck me as, in some technical sense, logically indefensible, right? I mean,
you can't prove a negative.
Right.
I think it was Bertrand Russell once said he couldn't prove that there was not a teapot orbiting Mars.
Right.
So. Well, I don't like the term atheist because it usually means somebody who's going around upbraiding people and trying to force them to listen to his arguments for why there is no God.
What?
I don't think there's a God, so I'm an atheist.
You crazy?
I don't make a deal.
Dennett is another blind scholar atheist. He's developing a new term for atheism. It's called brights. The guy is losing it. Incredible. Doesn't he realize that he creates thoughts with the brain? They don't. They're blind people. You know, bright. What a moron. Atheist is a mentally healthy person. Invent a different word. Like even Illuminati would be better. Means enlightenment. Bright. The guy's incredible. But anyway, this is a problem. They don't see it. Brain is the one creating thoughts, people. Come on, please land.
The truth is that religion, as we speak of it, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, is based on the claim that God dictates certain books. He doesn't produce films, he doesn't score symphonies, the ability because these books are deemed so profound that they could not possibly have been written by human authors.
Me attempting at communicating with grackles is like Sam Harris trying to communicate with psychotic infected. I would suggest to Sam Harris to go to mental institutions and try to communicate with the schizophrenics and see if they understand him.
Differently, we treat scientific claims and texts and discoveries.
Oh man. Sam Harris, go back to school. Please get educated. Understand where religion comes from. Religion, it doesn't come from the ass. It comes from the brain. People that are unable to tell between fantasy and reality have a problem with the brain. Believe in imaginary friends at the root of all faith and all religious faith created in the brain are based on these beliefs. It happened in schizophrenia. You want me to actually give you a lobotomy so you understand, or give you some LSD and make you see gods and see what God is coming from? You are talking with a bunch of schizophrenic people that are Christ psychotics. They believe in resurrecting zombies. Get it through your head. You atheists are talking absolute nonsense. You guys are blind. They're total idiots. You might be educated and a scholar, might have all these PhD degrees, but you are morons. You are completely blind. You don't understand the fantasies and bizarre beliefs of the schizophrenics are no different than religious people. Get it through your head, you morons. You're babbling. You're like the babbling babies. You say nothing. Nothing. You don't call those morons Christ psychotic for what they are. They are crazy people. They're like schizophrenics. Get it through your dumb, stupid head. Get educated. Learn neurology. Learn from Ramachandran. Here. Learn.
Strange emotions are going on in his brain. A third possibility is that this has something to do with the way in which the temporal lobes are wired up to deal with the world emotionally. Areas in the temporal lobes, and the amygdala, which is the gateway to the emotional centers in the brain. Of these connections is what determines how emotionally salient something is. Speak of a sort of emotional salience landscape. with hills and valleys corresponding to what's important and what's not important. What happens in temporal lobe epilepsy? When you have repeated seizures, what might be going on is an indiscriminate strengthening of all these pathways. Instead of just finding lions and tigers and mothers emotionally salient, he finds everything deeply salient. For example, a piece of driftwood, seaweed, all of this becomes imbued with deep significance. A mystical experience or a religious experience.
What is a religious experience? A religious experience is no different than a schizophrenia experience or a drug-induced experience. You see the same bizarre metamagical beliefs and imaginary friends. So you have this feeling of it. Mental illness. Get it through your head. Atheist, you're supposed to be healthy, mentally healthy atheist, but you guys are blind. Your guys are blind. The brain is the one that creates thought, product of evolution. You trying to get it through the head to this crazy infected imbeciles with evolution, and you don't practice what you preach. You don't explain that all human beings are created out of a fuck, or coitus to be more exact. Coitus, sperm and egg doing this, and mutations happen, and then you create the brain. The brain is start getting to the imprinted period. Why don't you guys take some neurology classes? I mean, Dawkins and Harris and Dennett, what's wrong with you guys? You're blind. And study languages. You know, learn like about 5 different languages. Learn Latin. You know, and tratar de hablar español también y aprenda la lengua francesa o parler francés aussi. ¿Qué te pasa? Son unos imbéciles. You guys are imbeciles. You know, why don't you guys, you learn, get educated, get it through your head. People that believe in God are sick. Are sick people no different than schizophrenics. And I don't know how many times I'm going to repeat that. You guys are totally blind. Here is Sapolsky. Get some lessons from Sapolsky. He'll teach you about neurology.
Who came up with this one, a guy named Devereaux, referred to primitive religion as being organized schizophrenia. This was up to in the Night and the Time Life specials on public television, and what the critical transition is it's not just about them. Like something culturally chauvinistic it was of the Western anthropologists to write all these articles about how shamans are half-healed madmen and how condescending that was to talk about those cultures as being so irrationally based. The Gallup poll, a recent Gallup poll survey, I don't know about you guys, but these numbers astonished me. 25% of Americans say they believe in ghosts, 36% believe in mental telepathy, 47% believe in UFOs, and more than 50% of Americans believe in the devil and a belief that the devil influences daily activities. These are people who can vote. These are people who can serve on juries. These are people who can operate motor vehicles. These are people making decisions about medical interventions. I, for one, in this outpost of not terribly extreme irrationality in this corner of the country, am astonished. We live in a world that is highly irrational. And the punch...
Dr. Sapolsky, a neuroscientist, which I'm sure you guys, Dawkins and Harris and Dennett, never heard of, because you don't seem to hear from people that really with good brains that know about the brain, like Urgesi and Sapolsky and Ramachandra. You have no idea. Your guys are clueless, even though you are brilliant, you have doctorate degrees and educated. And you probably speak only like about probably 2 languages, if that. You should learn at least 5. Okay, you should learn Latin. You should learn Greek. And you should just remove your tunnel vision goggles. And if you're going to be an atheist or a mentally healthy, like I call them, learn neurology. And not from one book. Learn from different neuroscientists. From a lot of them. Get yourself educated and learn religion. Learn where all this crazy nonsense come from. Learn anthropology, learn archaeology. Get your head out of your ass and get educated. It is a shame to have people like professors and all that, like Dawkins and Harris and Dennett and even Hitchens, that they only know one field and one thing and they don't know anything else and they don't see they're blind because they don't see the whole scope of everything. So you have to get your brain, you know, feed your brain and learn this stuff. And then you can fight the Christ-psychotic imbeciles that you realize that are normal. People that believe in God are not normal. The bizarre metamagical beliefs in all religions are no different than the bizarre metamagical beliefs in schizophrenia. Some people that suffer temporal lobe epilepsy, and people that have damage to the brain. I can give you a damn drug. I can give you the datura flowers. Learn about microbiology and learn about medicine and learn about how the drugs interact in the brain. You guys should learn all that because you're dealing with the brain. You know, if you're going to fight the Christ-psychotic imbeciles, you cannot fight them just by saying that, well, the God is bad and all this stuff, and you cannot. You have to get to the root of the problem. Their brains are defective. A malfunctioning brain can only produce irrational thinking. It's elementary. You don't have to have a PhD to know that. You don't have to have a PhD to know that the earth is round and that we think with the damn brain, and that if we drop an object, it will fall down. You don't need, and if I punch you in the face, it will hurt. You guys are idiots. Get educated and learn if you want to attack the Christ-psychotic infected imbeciles that ruin the whole country and molesting the mind of children, raping the mind of children. They are all over the place. You'll never get anywhere. They'll do circles around you guys. So please, get educated in neurosciences. If you want to fight the Christ-psychotic imbeciles and put them in their place. I will. You guys, let the circles are you. Let me give him a lecture to D'Souza and Francis Collins and all these imbeciles that you guys wasting all that time with. I will bring a doctor with me, and I will have a lecture with these morons, and I tell you, I will prove to them that they are nuts and they have a problem with the brain. Scientifically proved, no bullshit. Remember, facts talk, bullshit walks. Keep that in mind.
It's not that I passionately believe there is no God. It's that, of course there isn't a God, but so what?
So the difference in your mind is not one of how confident you are that there's not a God. I mean, you're 100% sure there's not a God.
I'm not sure of anything.
Okay.
I'm as sure of it as I am of anything, yeah, I guess.
Okay. But not 100%. I mean, the reason...
Apparently no two people mean the same thing by God.
Right.
And nature, well, that exists, and they worship nature.
Right.
So do I, in a way. Does that mean...
Missing anything? I mean, do you wish you could believe in God? Is there no void in your life?
No. In fact, I think that's actually a much more interesting question to ask most people. Or actually, it's hard to ask them because they don't want to answer it.
Oh boy. And Dennett is clueless to the fact that Robert Wright was brought up in a Christ psychosis Baptist family. When he was a little kid, he was not born with belief. He was during the imprinting period that fed him all this garbage of Christ belief and all this zombie Jesus and all this nonsense. And Robert Wright didn't have a strong brain, and he kept believing all the crap even despite being educated. See? And this is what happened. He's still infected with this stuff. Now he's trying to be an atheist, trying to, but he's still, the psychosis of God belief is bothering his defective brain, susceptible to the bullshit of zombie God belief. That's the problem. And then it is just like blabbling here and blabbling there and saying nothing. Arguing about the tooth fairy, saying absolutely nothing. That's what atheists are doing when they argue with the Christ-psychotic imbeciles. They're sick people. It's like if you talking with somebody about geography and the guy had like about 5 or 6 different Cuba Libres and he's completely drunk. He doesn't look drunk, but he's, he smells like all that, and you start talking to him about geography and he's making all these mistakes in geography. And you keep correcting him and say, no, but this is not true. Washington, D.C. is not in the West Coast, and all that, and you keep telling that, and the guy says, no, it is, and you keep arguing with him that it's not, and the capital of Arizona is not Tucson, and all that stuff, and so you keep arguing with this guy, and you never question his sobriety, and you smell the alcohol, and you smell the guy, and the guy is drunk, and you never say he is drunk. It's like talking with a schizophrenic that believing all this garbage stuff, just like religious people do, all this humanity, and you never question the mental health, and you spend an hour talking bullshit with these people without going to the root of the problem. That's the problem with atheists nowadays. They are blind people. They should take their head out of their ass and learn neurology, and not realize that the brain is the one that's creating all the thoughts. Nobody's born believing in all that crap. The brain can be affected by disease, trauma, and all that. Learn neurology, please. And see, that's the problem. Atheists, scholar atheists, are blind. They do not question the mental health of the people that bring up such a crazy stuff. And this belief, we're in the 21st century. We have neurology, the science of neurology, and they should study it. And then, discuss things with these idiots. You don't have to spend a lot of time to say, hey, something is wrong with your brain. All the God is created in the brain. It's not created outside the brain. Means if the God is created in the brain and you believe in all this nonsense of God, you have a problem with your brain. It's like a kid believing, that turns into an adult, becomes an adult, and is educated and still believes the tooth fairy is real. Would you call that normal? You never question that, and you're just discussing the tooth fairy and the different colors of tooth fairy and all that stuff without saying, wait a minute, there is no such a thing as a tooth fairy. It's created by your brain. This is a problem. And they don't say, the Christ psychiatrist used to say, si Deus pro nobis quid contra nos. If God is with us, who can be against us? And they're genocidal psychopaths. They should study the Crusades. They should study the massacres they did, the Inquisitions and all that. Atheists today, Dawkins and all these are ignorant of history. Completely idiots. Ignorant. Learn Latin. Learn the different languages. Get educated before you discuss things with nuts. Why don't you go to a mental institution and discuss the imaginary friends of the schizophrenics? The same thing like discussing Christianity with the imbeciles, these lunatics. And they should say to them, "O sita quisis philosophos mancises," which in Latin means if you were to remain quiet and silent, you would appear intelligent. It's like when you see people that is mentally retarded and have a problem with the brain. It doesn't say a word, but it's very handsome, nice looking, all that person, with the books around it and a real nice coat, and he opens his mouth, then you know that he's ignorant. That's the reason in Latin you say, "Oh, sita quisis philosopher mancises." If you remain silent, you appear intelligent. And this blind atheists today should learn that and should get educated in neuroscience. Get lessons from Dr. Sapolsky before you interview the morons. And compare them. Bring some schizophrenics to be part of the discussion. Then prove my point. Pace de Oro.